across time. Clara returned to the lighthouse with renewed determination, her steps quick despite the weight of the evening fog rolling in from the sea. The structure loomed ahead of her, its silhouette stark against the fading sky. Once it had felt eerie and abandoned. Now it felt like a place that breathed, quietly, patiently, waiting for her to uncover what it had guarded for more than a century. She began her search again. Every corner, every crevice, every loose board. She moved with purpose, her fingers tracing the walls, the floorboards, the beams overhead. She checked behind old crates, beneath piles of debris, inside rusted lanterns that had long since lost their flame, her heart pounding with anticipation. Nothing. But Clara refused to give up. Not now. Not when she felt so close. She descended the stairs again, slower this time, letting her gaze linger on the details she had overlooked before. The peeling paint, the faint carvings, the way the floorboards bowed slightly in certain places. She paused near the base of the staircase, where a rotted beam leaned precariously against the wall. Something about it felt wrong. She knelt, pushing the beam aside with effort. It shifted with a brittle crack, revealing a narrow gap in the wall behind it. Clara's breath caught. There, hidden in the shadows, was a small compartment carved into the wood. It was barely noticeable, its edges worn smooth by time. Inside lay a tin box wrapped in a faded ribbon, the once vibrant color now muted to a dusty rose. Her hands trembled as she reached for it. The metal was cool against her palms, surprisingly heavy for its size. She sat back on her heels, the silence of the lighthouse pressing in around her as she carefully untied the ribbon. It fell away like a sigh. She lifted the lid. Inside, nestled among scraps of old fabric, was a single folded letter. Clara's heart lurched. Lila's handwriting. She recognized the elegant loops, the delicate strokes, the unmistakable grace of a woman who had written with both tenderness and longing. But this letter was different from the others Clara had found. The ink was darker, the paper less worn, as though it had been written later, perhaps in the final years of Lila's life. And at the top in careful script was a name. Elias. Clara's breath hitched. She unfolded the letter with trembling fingers, her eyes scanning the first lines. Lila wrote of a dream, Elias standing on a cliff, calling her name. His voice carried by the wind, his silhouette outlined by moonlight. She wrote of waking with tears on her cheeks, convinced that he was alive somewhere, reaching for her across the vastness of the sea. She wrote of a feeling she couldn't explain, a certainty that defied logic. He survived. He is searching for me. He is trying to return. Clara felt her throat tighten. Lila had believed. Even when the world told her to let go, she had held on to hope with a quiet, unwavering strength. But then the letter shifted. Lila wrote of a secret she had hidden for Elias. Something she had kept safe in the lighthouse. Something she had promised herself she would protect until he returned. She didn't name it directly, but her words hinted at its importance, at the weight it carried. Clara's heart raced. The secret. The thing Elias said he had left behind. The thing the villagers never found. The thing Clara had been searching for without knowing it. It wasn't in the village. It wasn't lost to the sea. It was here. In the lighthouse. Clara read the final lines of the letter slowly, her breath catching on each word. If you find this, my love, know that I kept my promise. What you left behind remains safe. I pray the sea returns you to me. And if it does not, then let this lighthouse carry our story into the future so that someone, someday, will understand the love that lived here. Clara pressed the letter to her chest, overwhelmed by the depth of emotion woven into every line. She felt as though she were holding Lila's heart in her hands, fragile yet fierce, full of devotion that had outlasted storms, time, and loss. She closed her eyes, letting the weight of the moment settle over her. Lila had hidden something for Elias. Something important. Something meant to be found. Clara opened her eyes, scanning the room with renewed urgency. The hidden compartment had held the letter, but not the secret itself. That meant it was still somewhere in the lighthouse, waiting. She rose to her feet, her pulse quickening. The lighthouse was no longer just a relic of the past. It was a keeper of truths. A guardian of promises. A bridge between two souls separated by fate. And now it was calling to her. Clara folded the letter carefully and slipped it into her pocket. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. She wasn't done. Not yet. The secret was here. and she would find it.